What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron, and today we have a special one. We are 3 to 4 days away from the NFL draft, depending on when you guys are seeing this, which means let's have some fun with landing spots. There's no use in me going through here are my top 10 guys. At this point, we want to put names and faces to teams and places. So we have on a very good friend of the channel. We have Ray G here, where look, I'm definitely more of a spreadsheet guy. I like the numbers, but I know Ray is one of my guys when it comes to film. I like Matt Harmon. I think Ray, in terms of watching the football, he is one of the best that does it. So I want to kind of just talk through this class with Ray here. How's it going today, Ray G?
Man, it's good, baby. Anytime you come calling and say, join me in the basement, you know I'm gonna be there. And it's really easy, Ron, when the class is full of Malik neighbors and all these studs to where it just feels like every rookie pick, you're swimming in gold, right? At least that's the thought and the feeling. I really have enjoyed this process because it does show who is grinding, whether that be the spreadsheets, the tape, situations, landing spots, and how much you know about these current 32 teams. And is there some hidden potential with some guys that maybe in a great rookie class, Ron, we wouldn't be talking about fifth round running backs or fourth round receivers, but these guys are going to land in spots to get some opportunity, dude. And what I'm going to say is, I'm not saying these are going to be locked and loaded starters for the next 10 years, but in the game that we play this upcoming season, there will be players off of this list that get opportunity to score us points, and that's what we're chasing is opportunity. So this should be fun, man. It's my first time doing it with all the rounds and the players and teams mock. So let's get to it, man.
Yeah, shout out Jordan Reed, dude. You couldn't you couldn't pay me to go through and do a 7 round mock every single position. He's got write ups. I mean, salute to Jordan Reed. He does this, I think, every year. There's a few guys out there that are sick enough to do this. So we have Jordan Reed over at ESPN. Some of the big landing spots. Tate goes 6th overall. Jeremiah Love 7th to Washington. Tate obviously to the Browns. Mekhi Lemon to the Rams. Jordan Tyson to the Jets. You can see I have it on the screen here. It goes all the way through. Now I'll put you up at the one spot here. Who are you taking? Now I will say this is going to be a Dynasty, Superflex, tight end premium, rookie mock, just a vanilla. To me, that is the gold standard in the space. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take the player that everybody's been taking at 101, but I want to talk about it from the standpoint of the landing spot. Jeremiah Love was RB1 off the board. He goes 7th overall to the Washington Commanders. And based on some of the spots that we've seen throughout the mocks, Tennessee, Arizona, he lands here, Ron. Like, yeah, he's 101 here, but I think the question would be like, where would he go in dynasty startups? This would be a hell of a spot with JD5. Yeah, they got to improve the O-line and do all this other stuff, but him in Washington with Jaden Daniels, I think the 101 is even more valuable if he lands in Washington than Tennessee or the Jets or somewhere like that.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree. We're talking about, this class maybe isn't that strong, and I think that's kind of like almost like the stench is like, I think the 101 is cheaper right now than it should be, if that makes sense. For like Jeremiah Love, the minute he gets drafted, like you were saying, I would say probably like early second round startup pick. Like I would say right in that, probably behind Bijan and Gibbs, and then like right next to Genty, you can have those guys flip flop however you see fit. But that's an awesome landing spot, like you said, with Daniels. And the running back room's wide open. I mean, I know they have Bill Krosky-Merritt, I know they have Rashad White, but they're moving to the side for Jeremiah Love. Now, at the second pick here, this is where I think it gets tougher. And I will say with this mock as well, I was talking before the show about this of all of us, we want, the Jordan Tyson Chiefs landing spot. We want the Seattle Seahawks to come up at pick 32 and grab Mike Washington or Jadarian Price. But, sometimes we don't get what we want here. And with Carnell Tate to the Browns, yeah, Mekhi Lemon to the Rams is interesting, but like Puka's there, Devonta Adams is there, and then Jordan Tyson to my Jets. So I'm going to lean on how I feel in a vacuum, where Tate's been my wide receiver 1 this whole time. I like Tate. I do get it's tricky because Tate's the consensus wide receiver 1, but then there's also like a contingent of people who aren't bought in. He was the number 2 behind Jeremiah Smith. You get a lot of these like, maybe he's T. Higgins at the next level. Maybe the best he can be is a high-end number 2. And what I would say is that it's so tough when you're comparing him to Jeremiah Smith that he's never going to be the one there, get the shine as the number one. And that's not how it always has to be. Like there are just some of these receiver rooms where it sucks now that Brian Thomas is kind of in no man's land, but he was this guy, second fiddle to Malik Neighbors. Could he ever be a one? And then his rookie year, he's an absolute monster. Obviously, Jefferson with Jamar Chase, where sometimes it is just like a stacked room, and these guys go to an NFL wide receiver room, and they are the guy. I'm curious where you would take, because he's somebody where if you look at the raw numbers, it's like, man, like I need some more. But then you look at reception perception, you start to look at the per route stats, and it's like 3+ yards per out run next to Jeremiah Smith. To me, is pretty ridiculous. So where are you at? And honestly, I didn't speak on the Browns at all there. What are we saying? Because I know, they got Shador. I feel like you've been up and down with Shador is interesting. Who knows about Deshaun, but how do you see that fit and kind of where are you at on the take? Could he be, he's like a great 1A guy or a 1B guy, or could he just be a number one?
I love college football, dude. I love it. I got to play college ball, fortunate enough. And I've always said, I just love the college game. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to do it next year. I'm going to do it. And a million other analysts are going to do it. Jeremiah Smith is going to be placed in the greatest wide receiver prospect bucket that we have ever seen, maybe ever since Calvin Johnson. As long as he stays healthy, that will be the narrative. I'm not knocking Carnell Tate for playing with that guy. Like, how am I knocking him for playing along? If anything, the fact that he had 875 yards in that offense alongside Jeremiah Smith, I'm giving him tremendous amount of kudos. He is my wide receiver one and has been that way since January. Coming into the season, he was not that for me. It was Jordan Tyson, but you're looking at Tyson's numbers. He had 700 damn yards this year. Like that doesn't profile like a locked and loaded stud wide receiver at the next level. Mekhi Lemon won the Biletnikoff with 1,100 yards, right? The whole college season was a little bit wonky. So he's the one. The Cleveland landing spot's not great, but opportunity. Look at Harold Fannin. There was opportunity for Judy had he been able to catch the damn ball. Isaiah Bond got a lot of shots downfield. I think it would be a matter of time before he would assume that wide receiver one role. And it would be kind of reminiscent of Tetairoa McMillan in Carolina, to where like you see it, you know it, you need some things to break right. He's my one. Cleveland wouldn't scare me off. I'm just more shocked that you went Tate after last year when we did this and you hammered me about how much quarterback value, yada, 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 and you take the damn wide receiver. Well, I'll take Fernando Mendoza here at the 103 spot. I will take Mendoza, Clint Kubiak. There's a lot that needs to happen in Las Vegas, but I feel like I'm safe here in Superflex with this player. I think he's a good player. I think he's a great quarterback, but he's fine enough to where I can do some stuff with him. I'll take Fernando Mendoza at 3, but to your question about Tate, I love him, and the fit wouldn't scare me off a bit.
I like that. Mendoza's such a tough one because I'm having a weird internal battle about quarterbacks and Dynasty as a whole, and we could do an hour on this alone of like, we've been doing this for a while, right? And we saw there was literally a year ago, the first 6 picks, 5 of them were quarterbacks. There was Josh Allen, Lamar, Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Burrow. Any of those 5 plus like Jamar Chase was your top 6 in a startup. And we've now gotten to a spot. People are like out on Mahomes. Mahomes is like the cheapest he's ever been. Hurts is the cheapest he's ever been. It's Allen and May up top, which like even I think, I mean, Allen is now going to be into his 30s. I like Drake May, but he has some like hidden CJ Stroud downside where if he doesn't, 20 plus points per game again, all of a sudden he's like a second round startup pick. And like the quarterback market's just so weird. I don't know if it's like a resurgence in real life football, but there's so many good quarterbacks right now where I feel like Jared Goff is cheaper than Mendoza. Does Jared Goff outscore Mendoza for the next like 3 to 4 years? Like probably. It just gets so tough because there's so many good quarterbacks. But I do see the appeal with Mendoza because if he goes out and he throws 20, 25 touchdowns, he's a 1-2 turn startup pick. We just saw with Dart. Dart had like 8 good games, like all these concussion issues, and he's a 2-3 turn startup pick. So it doesn't take a lot for these guys to really ball out. And then Cam Ward as well. He did like pretty much nothing and he retained his value. But Mendoza's he's tough because it's like he doesn't scramble much. He's not going to give you much rushing, but he's also a pretty good athlete. We saw the Miami game where he did make a gutsy scramble. Like I think in the NFL, he might be asked to do that more. He's interesting. Where I've said this before too, it's unfair because for fantasy, he's not amazing. But in real life, I would do anything to have him to the Jets at number one. Like that's who I wanted. He'd save us.
I'll give you my rationale for Mendoza once we work through about 8 more of these picks, right? Because I'm taking Mendoza here at the 3 spot, but I'm picking this like that's my spot, right? Like I'm at the 103. I took Mendoza here. And once we move down the board a little bit, I'll give you some more reason as to why I'm doing it with Mendoza, because we'll talk about it here in a second with a couple of these other skill position players that have come off the board.
I like that. I will go Mekhi Lemon here. I think I have Lemon and Tyson so close. And if you're going to give me McVay, I'll take Mekhi Lemon. He's interesting. He's definitely more of a PPR guy. Like if you look at his production this year, it was a lot of catches, like low. It was like just over 1,000 yards. But he's fun. Film guys seem to like him. I think like the one thing holding him back is the slot designation, where we've seen a little more recently teams that run more 12 personnel, like Josh Downs, Khalil Shakir, getting phased out. But it seems like Mekhi Lemon, that's not him, right? Obviously, he's a tier above those guys to go round one. And if you just get him in an offense with McVay, he's going to have a lot of the fun. What do they call it? Like the C gap, where he's coming through as like all the weird stuff
plays,
yeah,
C gap insertion,
people go
motion,
crazy about the. Yeah, he'll have that there. I mean, they were trying to trade off Devontae in the offseason. He's probably there another year max.
Yep.
So I'll take Mekhi Lemon there, kick it back over to you at the 5 spot.
That's the pick. That's a good pick. It's a great spot. And more than anything, I've coined this term ADV, not ADP, ADV, artificial dynasty value. And that's it's basically sentiment, Ron. And if Lemon is drafted by the Rams, the sentiment is going to be this dude, as soon as Adams is out of the building, it's up, right? It's up. It's him and Puka, and they're wreaking havoc on the NFL. And the excitement, the ADV that will be inside of that pick from the moment he's drafted, people will be really excited until we get to August and September. And it's like, oh crap, he is the 3, right? He's not getting 10 targets a game. So with that being said, if the draft plays out this way in our super flex, 1.5 tight end premium, Kenyon Sadiq gets first round capital to Minnesota. I'm going to take him at the 105 spot over Jordan Tyson. I love Tyson, the player. I'm just thinking about opportunity and pathway. And I don't trust Geno Smith. I know this is your squad. I don't trust it. I still think Garrett Wilson is by far the alpha in that offense. So players like if you're not coming in and you're going to be T-Mac, Teteron McMillan from day one, right? You are the number one option in a bad offense, like I think Carnell Tate could be. I don't think there's any chance Tyson's going to usurp Garrett Wilson. What happens in Dynasty is Dynasty gamers get real tired real fast. I mean, look at how quick people were ready to bail on Marv, how quick people are ready. I mean, there are some more superior level prospects that people are out on if they're not Justin Jefferson out the gate. And I think this would be a slow burn. I think Tyson to New York, great football fit to help the team out. But Dynasty, I would have a lot, especially early on, I'd have a lot of reservation about him. Sadiq in Minnesota, listen, it's tight end premium. He's fast. I know it's Kyler. I would go him at 105 right here.
I don't hate that. Sadiq has been so tough to wrangle with, where he's big, he's fast, he's young. Like, these are all things that are good. You'd want like a little more production. You'd want a little more efficiency in the yards per route run stuff, but his like missed tackles for stuff looks great. And I am curious with like Sadiq, and I am curious like in your film process in general of, this is like kind of a weird question, but you get these like draft guys who only watch the all 22, but I know you are, and really the film I watch, I'm not going to sit down and grind the all 22. It's just not me, but I watch the college football games. I'm curious, where were you at with Sadiq, kind of like watching him during the season? I know that he was a big name coming in. How do you kind of balance that? Because I almost feel like there's a certain feel where like Sadiq all year, like monster. Oregon, people forget, like the first 5 or 6 games, I mean, they were killing people to the point where like Sadiq's getting pulled and they're throwing backups in. So how do you kind of shift between almost like the vibes of in season versus now, like watching the all 22 and kind of how that shapes
Y-
your view of
y-
Sadiq?
in season, he never felt like this game wrecking player, right? He never felt
Yeah.
like that. And there's another tight end out of Oregon that we will be talking about next
Oh
year,
yeah.
Jamari Johnson, who had damn near just about the same amount of output as him on 20 less receptions, right? The offense is Mickey Mouse. It is a Mickey Mouse offense for Dante Moore. There's nothing complex about it. But you watch it and you're like, man, if they threw this dude the ball, he could probably be a monster if he would just get the targets. I don't think it was a product of his skill set. It's just a cookie cutter offense, right? It's a cookie cutter Oregon Ducks offense. There's probably better football left for him to be played, but he never once did he feel like Tyler Warren. He didn't feel like Brock Bowers at Georgia, but he's big, he's fast, he's athletic, and that's a big part of the tight end process. I think landing in Minnesota with KOC, you're hoping that that offensive prowess could bring some more out of him. You could see the talent there. This again, maybe not as slow of a burn as in Dynasty gamers. Tight end people are just looking for the next thing, right? As soon as they think they see the next thing at tight end, I want to have it. So I'm kind of playing to that ADV right here that I can draft this young freak of an athlete tight end and he does something early on to get people excited. And then listen, all of these guys, I'll tell you the way I play, all of them can get moved. I'll put them on a first class flight off my roster for the right return. I think he's a good player, not a great player.
Yeah, I don't hate it. He's just one of those guys where he's tricky. But I think, we're talking about Warren, who's like a fifth year, 24-year-old guy. There's so much projection with Sadiq. And I will say, uh, with the tight ends, the one thing that I'm wary of is kind of the Dalton Kincaid thing. Like, can he run enough routes? Is he a tweener? I know Sadiq's trending towards tweener, but I would feel better about KOC having a real plan for him
Yeah.
on like an every down basis if you're going to take him in the first round, which it seems like he's making the decisions now. So that's another wrinkle that I think is interesting. I'll take my guy here, the Jet. I'll take Jordan Tyson, where this isn't a good landing spot at all. I will say, maybe look, if you want to sell yourself here, Geno Smith, pass attempts, bad team in general, but like there's a real chance here, and I hate to say this, we're looking at this mock right here. There's a real chance that Drew Lar is starting the last like 6 games for this team, and then who knows what that looks like. It all could get really messy for Jordan Tyson, but at the 106, he's a fun player. I'll be honest, my spreadsheets don't love him, but I know that some nerds out there like Tyson scores really well because that first year was awesome at Colorado. The third year was awesome. I am curious. Here's a good question for you. We're watching he put out a little workout the other day, and I'm seeing some hardos be like, oh, like him adjusting for that catch, like that's crazy. I'm curious what you thought, because I think honestly, you can give all the flowers in the world to his agent. Beautifully done. No 40 time. You made sure your guy was healthy. Last thing the GMC before the draft is this guy running routes on air. But then you have the hardos saying, oh, he's doing whip routes against air. Like he's, jumping for balls crazy. I'm curious, what takeaways, if anything, from his workout video, and just kind of how do you feel about that whole conversation?
Zero.
Yeah,
Zero. Honestly, zero. You know my takeaways for Jordan Tyson, and this again, Ron, I know you watch college ball because I see you tweeting about it during the season,
absolutely.
right? You may not be a college analyst but you're watching. Anytime he was on the field playing, dude, like he was one of
Awesome.
the better players or best player on the field, right? Like when you have an ability to just get hot, when everyone in the stadium knows you're getting the ball and they still can't stop you, like that's the lasting image of Jordan Tyson for me. What I took from that workout is he's healthy enough to run around out here. I actually kind of thought it was a joke. Like he ran like 20 something routes. I'm just like, it
Yeah.
just showed that he was healthy, right? Like I'm good enough to do this. Great job by his agent. This is a really good player, and he's bigger than a lot of people expected. Jay Rich, my co-host, I remember he comped him to baby Jamar Chase last year, and I'm like, nah, he's not that big. And then the measurables, like he's exactly damn near the same size as Chase. Now I think Chase is maybe a little more rocked up than he is. He's been in the league for 4 years now, or whatever it is. But Tyson's a really, I really wanted to push back on you because I thought you were going to tell me, Ray, I'm not as worried about this landing spot. And This is why are you, resident Jets truther here, Homer? Why is this? Give me the real talk. Why is this a bad spot, Ron?
Man, I'm a realist, right? I got buddies back, out here in Jersey that, every year it's our year, Super Bowl. And look, man, there's just only so many times that I can drink the Kool-Aid, get my hopes up and everything. I've just seen it. I don't believe in Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn never really had an elite defense with the Lions. If his calling card is defense, it's yet to really be seen. He goes out there and I guess like his group, they overpaid Jamie and Sherwood, who you would have thought maybe he had a vision for as an off-ball linebacker. The whole thing, a mess. So I think that this coaching staff is going to probably not make it past like week 10. I think it's going to get really messy. Like I said, I think there's a Drew Alar or whoever they take, whether that's Nussmeier, Alar, Beck, or whatever, could be starting down the stretch. The only glimmer of hope I can sell you on is Geno Smith, top 5 in pass attempts. And Tyson's per route stuff is kind of pretty enough because you know how it is. We're seeing it with Luther Burden. His production's not great, but those per route matches, and I am a culprit for this. I love the per route stuff. Give me all of the Luther Burden, first downs per out run, yards per out run, whatever. And that does, I think, mean something here. So even if you can't really sell yourself on that dream, I don't know. Maybe the Jets have the first. Like now, I'm talking myself into it. Maybe the Jets have the first overall pick. You're staring at Arch Manning next offseason. But you are right that he is, no matter what, he's playing second fiddle to Garrett Wilson. So at what point does he actually, Jordan Addison starts to become kind of a name or comp here that I'd be sort of talking myself into.
Do you know who the Jets' second leading wide receiver was last year? Do you know who it is, Ron?
So John Mechie?
It was A.D. Mitchell, right? And he came over half 300 yards. And I know he was a trade. They didn't have a receiver over 400 yards, man.
Yeah. That's that Fields. We had Fields, and then we had Brady Cook.
I know. I know. It's just it's scary projecting that forward. It really is. And I love Tyson. That's your squad, but I really hope we don't get him there at 16. I'm
as
sorry,
a fan,
I
selfishly want it. And you're talking about the athletic stuff. This is like super niche and shouldn't matter, but I do love that his brother's an NBA player who is awesome.
Yes.
Which to me, we didn't see him run a comp, but I guarantee he's flirting with a 40-inch vertical and can run really fast.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm up 1-7.
Yes, sir.
This is tough. Like right now, I'm just like, okay, because we're looking at these landing spots. We're taking all of the dynasty information into these decisions. The same thing that we talked about with Mendoza at 3, I think it's even more exasperated with Ty Simpson, right? Like, I just round 2 quarterback. Arizona is going to be a dump, probably most competitive division in football. I'm not even looking there. I want the first round receiver, and the one that I think has the cleanest path to some opportunity is Omar Cooper Jr., which feels so weird because I just knocked Jordan Tyson for being second fiddle to Garrett Wilson. Omar Cooper Jr. second fiddle to Tedderell McMillan, but my expectation level is he's second fiddle to Tedderell McMillan. I'm not looking at Omar Cooper Jr. as a future WR1 for my roster. This is, you know what he is. He's a good player, and he's somebody that I do think can come in. I know people love Jalen Coker. Shout out to my co-host, Matt Harmon. I know people still are I don't know how many people are really still in on Xavier Legette, but being drafted top 20, I do think Cooper would get every shot to be the number 2 and do something a little different for this team to help out Bryce Young. And he just feels like the type of guy that I can use in trade bait in Dynasty, right? Like, he's a good player, probably not going to give me some ISO first round pick on his own, but if he's solid enough, he's somebody, can I package up a Omar Cooper and something else to get a 27 first, to get an upgrade at receiver? And I just think his path to opportunity is a lot cleaner in Carolina at pick 19 than, I love Casey Concepcion, but I mean, Pittsburgh seems like a real rough spot for a receiver. So you're up at the 108 spot. Curious what you do.
I want to first pick your brain on Omar Cooper because I think that he is one of the more interesting film evals. Kind of what we were talking about earlier with, if you watched Indiana all year, you'd be like, Omar Cooper is cool. Like, he's good.
Talk about it.
Is he 19th overall? In this mock, Sirocco's 94th overall. Charlie Becker by the end of the year is like maybe the best wide receiver in this room. And on top of that, if you wanted, I hate to go game log hunting, but he's got 2 games of 100+ yards, and one of them is like a 4-touchdown Indiana State like 70-point blowout.
Talk about it.
How do we feel about Omar Cooper? Because it does feel, and he's like, you could sell me if he was a 3-year early declare. Okay, there's some projection here of why he didn't, stand out versus Surratt. But it seems like it's film based. I think his per out numbers are good if you want to go the spreadsheet route of like yards per out run is solid. But it's just kind of like the NFL draft hive mind has just kind of decided this is the guy at the NFL level, not Surratt, and so much so that it's Cooper that he's 19th overall. I've seen him 16th to the Jets. How do you view Cooper? He's interesting to me. Where he didn't, I didn't even. I'll be honest, I didn't notice him on Indiana until the Penn State catch.
To the Penn State catch. That's what a lot of people did.
That's all a lot of people. That's all I can really remember.
That's when and then he had a couple of games where he got hyper targeted and did really good. I'll tell you this. I know you keep saying I'm a film guy. I am all in the data, especially with this class.
Hell yeah.
Because I've been trying to figure out some different ways to analyze collegiate receivers. So I use Trinity Score for NFL, and I've made one for college. And I'll tell you this. I mean, if he gets the capital, he's in a decent bucket, right? If he gets the capital, he's in a decent bucket. He's not, my model doesn't have him higher than Boston, doesn't have him higher than Tyson, doesn't have him higher than Concepcion, Lemon, or Carnell Tate. I think this is the epitome of a good player that might be thrust into a situation where maybe in a typical draft class, he wouldn't be a first rounder. That is why I think Carolina is the spot though, Ron, because I do think he's probably on par with Jalen Coker as a receiver. He's probably on par with Xavier Legette and Jimmy Horn, more so than dropping Omar Cooper into Pittsburgh and saying, go be better than Michael Pittman or DK Metcalf, which will not happen. He's not better than those two guys. I think you make a great question, and you're just asking me a rhetorical because you know the damn answer to the question. I think we can say, well, he might have been the 3rd best receiver on that team behind Becker and behind Elijah Surratt. It very well could have been with a strong running game, and all they did is RPO. That's all they did. So, again, this is a guy that if he gets the capital, you feel a lot better, but this is not somebody that, at least today, Ron, I'm saying this is a mainstay on my dynasty roster that I cannot move, even if I draft him at the 107 spot.
Yeah, it's just a weird profile. Like, he reminds me too of kind of like I would say like Ladd McConkey and Ricky Pearsall. Of these guys, obviously not play style or anything, but
right,
just like they played college for a while. Their per out stuff is cool, but then like the NFL guys are just all over them. This one is tough at 8 because I do love myself some Concepcion. You're making good points. Like, we don't even know if Rodgers is coming back, so we're staring down Carson Beck in this mock, and then we also got Will Howard if that's your guy you want to go for or whatever. I think for me, and I think that this is just going to be kind of a sucker pick. But I'm gonna go Mike Washington.
Go get it. I knew
Why
it.
not?
I knew you were doing this shit.
Look,
I knew it.
If he goes to Seattle in the second round, I know it's a 64th. What would we have liked? 32 would be cool. But I think that you just have to go with it. This one, like Mike Washington, I got nothing for, because all the comps that come out for him in my number stuff is like Kalen Ballage and Isaac Guerrero, but these guys didn't get drafted second round to the Seahawks to get a bunch of volume, figure it out on the fly. He can catch passes. He's big. He's fast. I'm curious because I'll be honest, I didn't watch. I didn't see a lot of Arkansas football. I'll just be honest with everybody. Arkansas football didn't pass my desk or come across my desk this season. I really watched them since like the Rocket Sanders, Treylon Burks era. I'm curious, like, is he just a combine warrior? Can he be an NFL running back? Like, how do you view Mike Washington when it comes to running backs? Like, this is second best running back in the class, second round draft capital. It feels like a lot.
The best thing about this is the capital. The
Absolutely.
Landing spot is opportune. Charbonnet's not going to be 100%, but they bring in Emmanuel Wilson. I'm not worried about him. George Halani, he'll be out there, right? He's been there, glue guy, won a chance. I think there's some opportunity here. I'll say this, in the pecking order of random Seattle running backs that have been useful in fantasy that weren't top picks, and I'm looking at Chris Carson, and I'm even go back even further, Thomas Rawls. I think he's worse than both of them. Watching Arkansas, I don't really remember him, dude. I remember Taylor
Yeah.
Green, right? Watching Green because he's the big athletic quarterback. I'm truly thinking back to the few Arkansas, and they were always playing at 11 a.m. So they didn't have the prime time slots. I just don't really recall him. I think he's a lot of combine workout warrior. He fumbles the ball a ton. The ball is always on the damn ground, but he's fast and he's big. So if he gets some opportunity to play fast and big in that role, I don't, you call it a sucker pick, but it won't take much. If he gets in the preseason and rips off a long run, people will be a little bit more interested, right? Like they will. Seattle's got a great defense, right? And I know we're not talking IDP here, but they should have good field position. They've got an outstanding offense with Sam Darnold and JSN. Like just be decent, Mike Wash. And even if it's just a year where they're like, hey, at least all I know about Woody Marks is we got a year out of him. Like what he's going to be this year, who freaking knows? But he was useful in spurts last season. I don't. My RB2 is a little later down the board, but I know why people would make this pick. Hell, I just did a mock with Silva and McDowell, and I took Mike Washington early in the second round in that Dynasty startup mock, so rookie mock. So I don't. Based on these landing spots, I think some other ones are going to be tougher sells than Mike Washington in Seattle.
I agree. That's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm not, again, everything equal. If you swap him and Jadarian Price, like I'm probably taking Price here instead. It's just running back second round to the Seahawks. I think at a certain point in this class, it's where it has to happen. But we kick over to 109. What do you got your eyes on?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to make this pick, and I'm going to go to the second round as well with you, and I'm going to take Denzel Boston that goes to Tennessee at the top of the second round. This is historically a spot where these big wide receivers go. Michael Pittman was the top of the second round pick. T. Higgins, top of the second round pick. Luther Burden, not a big receiver, but he went at the top of the second round last year. Tennessee is in desperate need of pass catching help. I know they brought in Wan'Dale Robinson. You've got the Giants. What's his name? I'm blanking on his name. Dayball over there coming from the Giants to run the offense. And Boston in my models got the third highest collegiate Trinity score behind Mekhi Lemon and Carnell Tate. 50% probability based on wide receivers from 2016 to 25 to be a year one hit, which is classified as 650 yards in year one. About a 10% chance to be hit the star rating, which is 1,000 yards years one through 3. So have 1,000-yard season in his first 3 years. About a 10% chance based on his collegiate production and the projected late first capital. You bump him down to round 2, and it's funny, the Sims actually get a little bit better for him based on his collegiate usage profile. This is a good player, and I always talked about Carnell Tate being the best sort of in-air contested catch, sideline awareness receiver in this class. That's Carnell Tate for me. I think Denzel Boston would raise his hand and be like, hey, I'm right there with Carnell as far as that ability. Bigger guy, kind of like a dinosaur profile. He didn't run a 40-yard dash. I don't think he's like a great athlete, but he's not a poor athlete either. It's more so Tennessee's got to do something to help Cam Ward. I like Chimere Dike. I don't know if he's a true number one. I like Boston a little more than I liked Elick Eomanor coming out of Stanford last year. And with Wan'Dale Robinson in place, I do expect him to be their team's leader in targets and opportunity, at least in year one, which will just leave one-on-one coverage for Boston, who will probably operate as their big X wide receiver or Z. I think this is a really good spot for Boston. I like the player. High in my collegiate Trinity model. Capital's there. Opportunity is there. I'd be willing to bank on Denzel Boston here at the 1-9.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. And something I do like about Boston is when we look at like Jacoby Lane, 33% of his targets were contested in college, which is just like you're spamming it. That's something we see with like Quentin Johnson, and you've seen it with like JJ Arcega-Whiteside comes to mind. Boston only has like 18% of his targets were contested, so he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't the only way he could win. It's a calling card for him, but it's not everything. Like it's not his entire game. He can win in other ways. So Boston's fun, like you said. He's got Cam Ward here, and then when we swing back to 10. I'm going to take, this is where I'll go Concepcion, not the sexiest landing spot, maybe one of the worst landing spots here. to the Steelers. We're
Oh,
hoping if I take Concepcion here, we're hoping for Aaron Rodgers to come back and save us. We're maybe hoping for like a disgruntled DK Metcalf to like trade out or something. You still got Pittman there. It's just there's a lot going on. You got Fryermuth. I'm slamming the table to give more snaps to Darnell Washington. Like just unleash that man and see what he can do with like 80% of the snaps. But Concepcion's a fun player. I know he crushes reception perception. He's interesting. He doesn't have like a true peak that I would like to see. And he shared the field with Mario Craver last year, who apparently is supposed to be pretty good next year.
yeah.
And then was a monster at NC State as a freshman. And I do like that he's a weird like rushing profile where he had like 40 rushing attempts as a freshman, which it's a fun profile. Like you can squint and kind of see some like Curtis Samuel as like a median lower outcome, but I think I'd be fine with that in this class. Over to the 11 spot. What are you looking at?
I'm gonna leave one of the picks to you. I'm gonna just let you take it. I'm gonna go running back, and I'm gonna go to Jarian Price here. That gets selected by Denver as the RB2 off the board. I believe, is this the same spot RJ Harvey was taken last year, pick 62? I think it's right around there.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I mean, just let's not pie in the sky it as it stands today. If this were the draft, I mean, he's the RB3 in Denver, right? You're talking about J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey back. But Sean Payton doesn't feel like he's got an alliance to anybody. He just kind of, whoever's around, whatever's there. This feels like I'm taking my money. I won $1 million, Ron, and I just put it in a savings account. Like, I know
Yeah.
there's not a lot of interest. It's going to make me, it's safe in there for a little bit. I feel like I would just have some leeway with Price because look at how people dogged out Harvey last year. I mean, people were done for a while. Why did I pick this guy? Why did I listen to damn Ray telling me about this guy and he sucks? He can't even get on the field over. Like, it won't take Dynasty. Ron, we got to come back and do a show on just the psychology of how the Dynasty mind works. One season of the NFL is like 20 different seasons inside a Dynasty, and the ebbs and flows of feelings. Price would have his moment to where, oh my God, he's going to start this week, go trade for him any second, whatever. I'm just going to take the running back here at the back of the first.
You know what's crazy? So here's the thing. We did this show last year, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Harvey, but then people cooled off on him. They like weren't that crazy about the Broncos landing spot. I ended up being in on him in redraft, and he, like you said, like he was good down the stretch, and actually, I wouldn't say won people leagues, but was a good engine to get you into the playoffs and help you with the first round. Or yeah. I mean, he had 22 points in week 16, 18.6 in week 17. Like I would say, kind of a playoff hero. In one of my analyst leagues, I'm a rebuilder. Somebody just hit me up and gave me for my Michael Pittman, they gave me RJ Harvey and Kyle Williams. I was like, all right. Like at that point, Harvey was nothing. So Harvey, like you said, there's ebbs and flows. Now, if I wanted to go back, I could get Pittman plus something on top for Harvey. I don't know if that's like a recent thing that people are. It seems like that's like a last 3 years thing. It being like the last thing I can really remember. And like I said, we've been doing this for a little bit here. I would say it was the Puka rookie year is where it really stuck out to me, where everyone was like sprinting to sell him early or hold, or, is it time to cash in on Puka? It felt like everything before that was so like long view and like, like half of the season at a time. And now it is like a week to week trading game of your rookie sucks out the gate. Trevion Henderson plummeting, and then he has his monster games. All of a sudden, he's a real asset in Dynasty. So there will be ebbs and flows. Like you said with Price, it's going to start slow, but the expectations will be low. And then if he's on the Broncos, all it takes is a game or two, and then all of a sudden people are back in on the train. And what I will say, playing the market here as well, I will be going with Ty Simpson.
Okay.
Because here's where I'm at with the quarterback thing. And again, like it's so tricky with the quarterback because like Mendoza, I wonder if I'm like a little bit jaded from like, it's not even that Cam Ward was terrible last year, but it's like Cam Ward has a slippery start this year. Like he's going to get to that Bryce Young range where it's like, is this guy even going to be a starter in another year? But But these quarterbacks early out the gate, they get a lot of leeway. And I think with Ty Simpson here, you can pay off this 112 pick pretty easily. Starts down the stretch. Just look the part, just look the part for me. You don't got to go crazy, but just if he can sell, essentially all you need for this to pay off is he sells the Cardinals that he is the QB1 in 2027, and you will have an entire offseason to offload a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't have any firm takes on Simpson. He's another one where you get these draft guys like an Orlovsky who like just head in the sand, does not watch college football at all, but then like picks some games in all 20, like the all 22, and then forms their opinions that way. I don't know that it's right or wrong. It's just interesting to me where the narrative on Ty Simpson this season was like through 8 weeks, he was awesome. Like he was right in there for like the first overall pick. Yep. And then something happened with that injury where he like loses weight and all of that. I'm curious, like quarterback, like I said, we've been doing this for a little bit. Quarterback is just so tricky. You fall in love with the guy and then he sucks. You think, oh, there's no way this guy could be a great NFL quarterback. And then Bo Nix goes out there and almost played for a shot in the Super Bowl after, breaking his ankle. He was terrible on Auburn or whatever. So where are we at on Simpson? He's young, one year starter. Could have, and you could speak to this more of like, I have to assume the NIL bags were out there. I have to imagine that like a Miami would have called, or any of those teams. So how do you kind of gauge that with Simpson?
Yeah, it was funny because people forget about what happened week 1 for Alabama.
Oh yeah,
it was awful, and the Roll Tide faithful wanted him out. They wanted him replaced when they lost that game to Florida State. Who is this Simpson guy? Get him the hell out of here. Get Keelion Russell ready. And then he kind of turned it around and then went back down to being booty at the end of the season. My biggest issue with him, like we just did this stuff with quarterbacks not having the requisite number of starts, and we're not going to do this anymore. And he's only got 1 full year of playing. Arizona, he would have weapons at his disposal. Yep. I like what they re-up Paris Johnson's fifth year option. You've got the best tight end in football. You've got 2 twin towers on the outside. There's a lot to work with, and you've got an offensive-minded head coach. I'm fine with him here. I mean, people thought Jackson Dart would be booty at last year. No way he's going to be good at the back of the first round. And look at him; he's a top 10 quarterback in Dynasty startup right now, or close to it. I'm fine with him here. I think this is probably the best value play on the board. Does it materialize? I don't want to be the one to say that, Ron. I've been so wrong on quarterbacks so many times. It's a good spot though, right? Like it's a good spot for if you're going to have a developmental quarterback, develop him with the number 1 tight end in football, develop him with 2 competent, talented wide receivers, and they got a decent running game. So I think I'm fine with the pick here. If I were champion, I earned this in Superflex, and I think that's the play right now. I do think that's the pick based on all the other spots on the board.
Yeah, and like maybe you got Stafford, who's like getting older, and you're just trying to replenish Superflex spot. I don't hate it, but then we wrap around to the 201. What do you got your sights set on? We did talk about this of like, it is funny, they're burying some of our favorite players here. You got Stowers to the Eagles. I mean, you're kind of hoping like AJ Brown is dealt at that point, but still like as a tight end, Goddard's there. You can just go down the board. We're getting buried here, but we're sort of, I would almost call this like doomsday prepping here, where, this could happen. We could just, these draft cards could roll in. And we're like, ooh, I would have liked somewhere else.
Man, I feel like I'm going to get killed for this pick. I feel like I'm going to get absolutely buried for this pick, but I'm not doing it here at the 201 spot. I'm going to day 3, Ron. I'm taking a day 3 running back at the 201 spot. I'm taking Jonah Coleman, who was RB4 off of the board, goes to the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs is the guy. There ain't no doubt about that. He's not coming in and taking anything meaningful away from Jahmyr Gibbs. But I do think he can be a more reliable option at some point than Isaiah Pacheco, who they brought in. And if you're talking about a new 1-2 punch of Jonah Coleman and Jahmyr Gibbs, even if he never gets to the level of David Montgomery, the moment that the Dynasty community can see that, oh my God, he's the tandem with Gibbs, and he's got that physical kind of style, right? He's got that bruiser style. It's very contrasts very well with Gibbs. I do think that at that point, that ADV, that artificial dynasty value where people think he's probably worth more than he really is, because he'd probably be a really good NFL complement and not that great of a fantasy asset. But he's my RB2. He's my RB2. I think this is a good player who can catch the ball out of the backfield and a Dan Campbell kind of guy. I think Jonah Coleman, he'd be the type of running back people in Dynasty want to root for somebody, man. They want to pull for somebody. And in this offense with one of the best running backs, you'll see him play a ton. I know I'm giving you all this other stuff, but that gets into people's psyche. Man, waiting until they get Jonah Coleman in the RB2 spot. Like he's going to be a 10 touchdown guy, right? A season. Even if that doesn't come to fruition, I'm fine with Coleman here at the 2-1.
I don't mind it at all. I think especially with the Lions where I guess it's a little shaky now that Ben Johnson's gone and you have to keep on betting on Jared Goff. But Goff since leaving the Rams has been awesome. That this is just a spot that every year, especially Gibbs. I mean, I love Gibbs as well, but he's not he's not going to get you 300 plus carries or anything like that. It's going to be touches. It's going to be receptions. So there's always going to be a little bit of room in this backfield. And every year, if you look at kind of like the opportunities per backfield, like it's always going to be the Lions up at the top for as long as I feel like Campbell's there, for as long as Gibbs is there. Because we've kind of seen, I think as much as I want to give credit for Ben Johnson being kind of the nerd, I think Dan Campbell's got his fingerprints all over the entire thing of the run game and how even the trick plays. Because we saw last year, Ben Johnson wasn't there and they're still doing like Penei Sewell stuff and the was that last year the Amon-Ra St. Brown like pitch out to Gibbs and that's without Ben Johnson. So I think it's a lot of Campbell doing that. And like you said, like if he gets drafted here, Jonah Coleman, for me, when I pull up the numbers, like David Montgomery comes up as a comp. Like we're talking 220 pounds, not a freak athlete, but catches passes, does all the hard-nosed work. So I think that's not bad at all. Like I love Jonah Coleman as well. If you could guarantee me second round capital, I would like him over Price in Washington as well. It's just the NFL just doesn't like Coleman like we do, which we've had sadly we've had that dance before where whether that's you can kind of talk down the list of, I like Ollie Gordon more than the NFL did. But sometimes they're right. Sometimes we're wrong. I will take here, and this one I don't even like, or actually, no, I do like this one. I misspoke because I thought I was going to take Stowers, but I'm actually going to take Jeremy Bernard here.
Okay.
I like Jeremy Bernard. He, of course, gets the Chiefs landing spot. You talk about the value game. Him as the Chiefs wide receiver or Chiefs wide receiver, he's going to get some of that hype. It's not a beautiful spot, right? Because he definitely is more Rashee Rice, Kelsey than he is. Like maybe it wouldn't be great for fantasy. We'd still get excited about it, but maybe Denzel Boston's a better fit, right? Somebody on the outside, just something on the perimeter for these guys where none of their receivers right now can like win against press or do grown-up wide receiver stuff. And they bring in Jeremy Bernard, who can't really do that either. But there's something about Jeremy Bernard I like where he outproduces Denzel Boston at Washington in year 2 with like Odunze, Polk, McMillan. Comes to Alabama where, we're talking destination Devi. I love Ryan Williams. Last year tough for Ryan Williams. I think he's dropping balls at Ty Simpson's pro day too. But like Jeremy Bernard looked good. Like last 2 years, he's been awesome for Alabama. He's like a Swiss Army knife where he's like taking carries for them. He's playing inside and out. I don't know. We're getting to a spot in this class where I don't know that Jeremy Bernard is ever going to be an all-pro or a pro bowler. But I think he could just be like, I think Jacoby Myers is like a good name for Jeremy Bernard of just like, can he just be a solid NFL receiver? I do see that for Jeremy Bernard. I think the fit right away with the Chiefs is a little tricky, but I think people get so caught up in the Chiefs that it's going to hold more value than like his real fit,
I think that's where you and I are kind of like, I think people are so weary. Sky Moore, Xavier Worth, like they just, and I know you like those per route numbers. That yards per route run is pretty atrocious.
No, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. He's 9th in my model. It's not good, right? It's better than some of these other guys. I'll say this. I agree the landing spot will get people to react one of two ways. Either they'll like it, see some opportunity there. You got Knucklehead Rice there. You've got Xavier Worthy that's probably not a full-time kind of guy in that regard. I think people either really love it or absolutely hate it, right? Like this isn't, I don't really like the player. I've been burned by the Chiefs receivers before. But again, that's me being overly confident that I know what type of player this is, because the reality is he's a top 40 pick in the NFL draft, right? Like Whether he's going to materialize or not, Kansas City's going to give him every opportunity to try. I'll just that's the one I was letting you do it. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, but I could see it both ways with Bernard.
Yeah, I mean, he's not sexy. I think you're right. I think Tyson to the Chiefs people go nuts about, or Tate to the Chiefs, that
Yeah.
top 10 pick people go nuts about. I think you're right. People are starting to get a little bit wary of this, like Jalen Royals or any of these guys.
Yes.
Yeah, Clyde
Yeah.
Edwards, like any of the running backs that come in. It's like let's just who was it last year? Oh, Brashard Smith. Like it's just let's see it before we trust Reed.
And I know this is going to sound crazy, but at this point, I am truly thinking about, okay, if all things are equal at this point, Bernard, Hurst, like if somebody gets an opportunity, which one has the boom potential, right? Like which one, if they got in and did anything, people would really, and I don't know if Eli Stowers has boom potential, but if he's a good, competent number 2 tight end in that offense, which if you think back to Philly and that's who I'm picking here at the 2-3 spot is Eli Stowers. But if you think about Philly over the past couple of years, when Goddard goes down, they just rotate. They put Calcaterra or whomever in there. Calcaterra's out there running routes. You're like, damn, he's out here on the field. If they do move away from A.J. Brown, you're not going to replace him in the draft with somebody. And if they take him in the second round, I think there's going to be some opportunities for him to be deployed as this big slot move wide receiver kind of guy. Again, the sentiment around this offense isn't great with Jalen Hurts, but I would rather Eli right here as a second round tight end over a couple of these other guys that are drafted a little bit later, especially the pass catchers.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Where I think you're right in this scenario. I have to assume that Jordan Reed's assuming that AJ Brown's gone. He takes Stowers and then he takes Antonio Williams. You are assuming Devontae Smith is like the number 1 wide receiver, but then Stowers going to get some fun. Like obviously he's not AJ Brown, but he's going to get some of that fun usage in the slot. And I think, like you said, with like tight ends, like he doesn't have to show a ton, right? Even when you're talking about, I was going to bring it up when you said people just kind of, if you can just show it a little bit, like I love Oronde Gadsden. I love what he was as a prospect. It was awesome that he had a few games, but like he's the tight end 10 off of like a 4-game stretch. That's genuinely what it is. It's not, I like him. I'm down to project him to be awesome. But at the end of the day, all it takes is Stowers to do a little bit. And then, his value is going to the moon. Cause like tight end, we're itching for tight ends, right? All the old guard, Kittle off the Achilles, Kelsey's going to retire soon. Andrews was MIA last year. Everyone's looking for the new tight end. So I think Stowers off the bat gets a ton of value. Now, at the 204, this is where I'll say the tier, this is the tier break in terms of what we're looking at. Because there's some interesting ones. Like Carson Beck to the Steelers, say whatever you want about Carson Beck, but like, are we assuming that, like, if no Rodgers is there and it's a Beck versus Will Howard quarterback battle, Pittsburgh people would be beside themselves. Could you sell like those quarterbacks? I'm starting to kind of warm up to, but I will take here. I think it has to be one of the pass catchers. I'm gonna personally go Elijah Surratt.
Good pick.
I'm not super in love with Surratt. This would just be because there's something with Surratt where I think that he's solid. But like I said, sometimes you think to yourself, like Omar Cooper first round versus Surratt, what is this, 94th overall is just insane. But these guys know something, right? We've seen this. Like we can go deep polls of like I like Seth Williams more than the NFL. Seth Williams at Auburn was awesome, and they told me no, he wasn't. So there's a chance that that's what's happening with Surratt. But you give him, I mean, I'm starting to think about it. He is the number 1 receiver, which he's going to look awesome on that depth chart. But then you get down to the quarterback spot, and it's like Malik Willis is going to throw the ball like 19 to 22 times a game. So I'm not as stoked anymore. The depth chart's going to look cool with Surratt. The depth chart's going to look awesome. He produced at Indiana. He produced back at James Madison. Contested catch stuff is an issue with him. But I think this isn't a bad spot for Surratt.
I think this is a sharp pick. I was staring at him. I wasn't going to make any mention. They got no damn receivers, man. Like they've got none. They've got nothing. And if this really does play out this way to where they don't touch one until round 3, and then they double tap. This could be very much like a Tennessee situation where they deployed those young pass catchers, right? They just we're throwing you out there. The Raiders kind of did it a little bit with Thornton and Besh to a degree last year. I think this is a good one because I think Surratt is better than Bryce Lance, who went before him. So uh, when we started this, I was like, man, by the time we get to mid round two, this is just going to be a slog. But I'm actually talking through and looking through these spots. I'm enjoying this. So I like Surratt there. I was going to take him. I think right here at 205, I'm just Ron. I'm swinging for a home run. I'm just flat out swinging that. You pair him up with your rookie quarterback. The wide receiver room isn't that good anyway. Give me Chris Bell right here. Give me Chris
Okay.
Bell. He gets that day two capital, right? It's round three. I believe 367. So this is the top of the
Maybe
third
the
round.
first, yeah, like the first or second pick, maybe third of the third round.
Had he not torn his ACL, he probably would have been contention to be a first round pick. Just his
Absolutely.
size, the way that he played. Somebody that I mocked commonly to Denver at 30 when they had the pick a long time ago. Listen, in this mock, they went Mendoza, and then they went somewhere else with that second round pick, and then their first skill position player when they had the choice to pair him up with Surratt, when they had the choice to pair, they went with Chris Bell in this one, wide receiver 9 off of the board. So I think I'm swinging for the fences and taking Chris Bell.
I'll tell people too. This is a weird fact. My mom will watch college football on Saturdays while she's cleaning, doing whatever. She sometimes watches more than me, man. And I got her this notebook. She like writes somebody down, and she's kind of sharp. She has like favorite pet players, not for any reason. They just pop when she watches. She loved Bo Nix. She loved Luther Burden. Chris Bell is her guy in this draft. Really, because she saw the Miami game. Like anyone who saw the Miami game is going to fall in love with Chris Bell. But she was so bummed because when he tore his ACL, you can speak to it. Like at that point, it was like he had some first round buzz, but like a torn ACL for a guy like that, like a fourth year out of Louisville, like it was like, is he gonna go back to school? Like he was caught in this no man's land of like day 3 or going back to school. So
Yeah.
I think round 3 would be a huge win. Just wanted to put that out there. That Chris Bell, he's got something special to him. We'll go another receiver here. I'll go Chris Brazzell. He goes to the Bills.
Okay.
I'll just buy into, all right, he's playing with Josh Allen. He's something where I got nothing at this point. I with the Tennessee guys, we've seen it with Jalen Wright, we've seen it with Jalen Hyatt. Someone who's been decent though is like Cedric Tillman, but none of us had any expectations for him. And when I say decent, it just means he wasn't like dropped from dynasty rosters. I got nothing, man. Like he's fast, but then that Tennessee offense is just so tricky in terms of how it translates to the numbers, how it translates on film. Because there's like a game, it might have been Tulane. People are like, oh, he's dogging it on some routes, but apparently that's what he's being told. So how are you evaluating that?
I've got him in my model as getting late second round capital. And if that happens, he's in a much better historical bucket based on his collegiate profile and the usage. But other than that, I'm not a big fan of his game. I don't buy and people who tell me, oh, he was coached to just walk and not run routes. So you think the switch is just going to flip up in the NFL and he's going to start doing it right? I've been burned by these guys so many times that, especially if he drops this far, is he better than Tyrell Shavers off the rip? I don't know, but you're playing with Josh Allen, so I'm banking on the offense. I'm banking on a perennial 4,000-yard passer that likes to push the ball downfield in the absence of that being present in Buffalo. So I don't mind the pick at all, and it's the same reason why I'm going to take Zachariah Branch right
I
here
like that.
at the 2-7 spot. He goes to New Orleans. He goes to New Orleans in the middle of the third round. And you think about what the Saints have. They've got Olave. They're going to lock him up long term. It's Vele. It's not a lot after that. And what did Tyler Shuck like to do? I mean, Chris Bell and Shuck have been advocating for one another. It's get the ball out quick, get it to your playmakers. Branch is an old school Ray GQ wide receiver 1 type guy. When I was back in those Rager days, Ron, when I loved the quick twitchy athletes, it doesn't really work in today's NFL, but in a complementary spot where Kellen Moore had some of these players before, Kevontae Turpin during his time in Dallas, I think Branch could be a fun fantasy player that if he gets any buzz, maybe I can package him up and move him.
I don't hate it at all. I was going to ask too. I'm not in a ton of Devy leagues. I'm like 2 or 3. There is something about this profile of guy where like he's awesome in Devy and then they fade a little bit. Like I can run. It's tough because I can really only think of the bad ones top of my head, right? When we start talking about like Zach Evans and you start
Yep.
talking about even Ollie Gordon last year. But there is something about these guys that I just can't help myself with. I wish I could think on top of my head of guys who were really strong recruits and then kind of like went to the wayside and then they ended up being
Because you're
good
human,
players.
Ron. You're
Yeah,
human, just like we all are. And this is why that you've heard the name, you've seen the player, you know the recruiting profile, and it sticks with you, man. Like that joint sticks with you for some time. So you're human, bro. So I get it. I get it.
he was supposed to be awesome.
Yes, he was.
Awesome. I mean, at USC, he was awesome. And then, sometimes these guys just don't work out. And it's just, I guess, we were talking about Chiefs, but Justin Ross, obviously that's for like an injury reason. But those guys, there's just something about them, which doesn't if you scroll down and look at Nick Singleton as kind of a similar vibe. But
Mm-hmm.
with the Packers landing spot, I will say something interesting here. Like just looking at this mock, I don't think Jordan Reed has Katron Allen getting NFL draft capital. I could be off. Maybe I missed it, but I think there's a chance that Katron Allen just not on his,
Oh wow, really?
which to me stood out. Yeah, he's just straight up not. I just searched his entire mock, not there. So that's interesting. I would have thought someone was going to fall. It'd be Singleton. This is where things get tricky because, like I said, the quarterbacks are tempting, but these guys sometimes they just rot away, man. Like Kyle Trask, like Hendon Hooker. Um, this though, you know what? I'm actually going to do it. This is where I take Nick Singleton. This is where
Okay.
I take Nick Singleton. I love Nick Singleton. They talk
Okay.
about this guy on the freaks list like he's I don't know, like he's like what do you want to call it? Like he's Johnny Appleseed. Like the guy can lift
A hell of
whatever,
an athlete.
breaking Saquon squat record. What? So he would essentially come to Green Bay to be the backup to Josh Jacobs. Maybe just maybe he carves out a fun receiving role where he can get on the field in passing down situations. He's one too that I find interesting with the film guys that are just the draft guys, right? So not to single anyone out, but like, kind of like your Dalen Jeremiah's of the world, where maybe they're only watching like the all 22 cut up from 2025. Where I think Singleton, if you go back to 2024, it's like holy shit, he was awesome for a really good team, 40 plus catches. Down the stretch when they're making the college football playoff push, like he looked amazing too. So he's this weird, like I think there's more to the story than if you just look at his 2025 stats with Singleton.
He's a hell of an athlete. He's a hell of a player. Just didn't work out at Penn State. It never
Yeah.
quite fired for him, but I was looking at him right there in the 5th round. So I think right here, I did not want to do it. I'm not high on this player at all. But if you're telling me he's going to be a top 50 pick, give me Ted Hurst. I'm not, he's dead last in my model. My model has him getting 3rd round capital. He's at the very bottom of that. The historical comps for him to be 1,000-yard receiver, to be a year, they don't 29% chance to hit in year 1, 650 yards. So 29% shot to hit 650 in year 1. And not that 650 is some great score, but that's just kind of give you a baseline, right? I think there's a lot of receiver development left that needs to happen with Ted Hurst. I mean, he's coming in and at best, he's the 4th option behind Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. At best, he's a 4th option, catching passes from Tua and Michael Penix. But you're talking about a top 50 pick, in this draft. He's going to get a chance. I don't know how you feel about Hurst. I'm not a big fan, but I'll take him here at the 2-9.
No, I was hoping maybe he popped for you when he's somebody, I'm not watching Georgia State football. I assume that he went to, like the Senior Bowl and all of that. I mean, good for him. He's getting a bag, top 50 pick would be awesome for a dude out of Georgia State. And that's really the only
Yeah.
commentary I got on him.
Yeah.
This one, I maybe should have thought about him at the last pick. And again, like these quarterbacks they're tempting. You got some day 2 tight ends and I don't love their spots, right? We're looking at like Claire. I believe Gasecki's still there.
Yep.
I mean, Gasecki's going to get out of there soon. Delp is interesting, but they got like 14 tight ends, right? We're talking Mitchell Evans, JT Sanders. They got Tommy Tremble, the weird fullback. And then on top of that, they have Omar Cooper, Tet McMillan. So like how many guys is Bryce Young even going to make like somewhat relevant past even Tet? So I'm going to go with kind of and I hate that I have to keep doing this with like Jeremy Bernard, but Adam Randall, if he's gonna get drafted by the Chiefs, like we're all gonna fall in love with the Brashard Smith thing. Randall, I wish I was more into though. Like I hate to keep picking players, and I'm like, it's tough because the players I don't love are getting the good landing spots in this mock. Where he's gonna go to the Chiefs. Yes, they have Kenneth Walker. There's still going to be room for a pass catching back, and you could sort of talk yourself into, well, no, you can't talk. I was going to, could you say he's like a pass catching weapon, like that could play some receiver? I really doubt it at 230 plus pounds. That I know is a converted wide receiver, but he wasn't a good one. It's shocking. What kills me for Adam Randall is that if you're going to be a career long receiver and then switch to running back, your career yards per out run can't be like 0.96. It just can't be. So he's not a great receiver. Like there's not a lot of wiggle. The efficiency stats suck, but he's big, he's fast, he catches passes, and he plays for the Chiefs. So the 210, I'm fine with it.
All right. 211. I'm going to get Malik Willis, his wide receiver from Green Bay that people are comping this wide receiver to. Give me Bryce Lance here at the 211 spot. A lot of development still left in Bryce Lance's game, but he can get down the field. A lot of comps to Christian Watson. We've seen Malik Willis push the ball downfield. You know, in this scenario, Miami goes 2 rookie wide receivers. There's nobody on the roster right now. Jalen Tolbert, the 2 Maliks, a lot of Maliks there. Just give me Bryce Lance right here. I'm just best ball guy, especially if it's dynasty best ball. I'll just take a shot in the 3rd round on Bryce Lance.
Yeah, you can squint, like you said, with the Christian Watson thing. Like he's big, fast. His yards per run is great. You do want, like, he was at North Dakota State for so long, didn't produce for a while, but then he was awesome. So I don't know. We'll see. He's a fun player. I'm very curious to see how he pans out. I will go. This is where I'll finally do it. I'm gonna go Nussmeier because in my head, I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers is full of shit. Like I think he's just gonna play. I think he also doesn't have a wife. Yes. I'll just put that out there for everybody if they're curious. My thoughts on Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, Nussmeier to the Rams. This has to be Stafford's probably last year. But we keep saying that, and then he plays, and then he has like a back injury that he goes on the Scooby-Doo bus for, and then he's fine. So I don't know. Nussmeier to me, though, he's interesting. People love Nussmeier, where he was like, we've talked about this too, where before this draft, right? You talk August mock drafts, Nussmeier was like 1st overall pick. You know, maybe he could be that guy. And then everything, this class got flipped on its head. So with Nussmeier, you can kind of buy into the pedigree. You like him behind Stafford. And then whenever he's ready, he's going to have Mekhi Lemon, Puka Nacua, McVay. So I'll buy into it. It does suck for fantasy. He doesn't scramble much at all. So he has to win from the pocket and be pretty exceptional there. But even then, if he's a starter at any point, he'll return value.
Yep. All right. I'm up at the 3-1.
Yes, sir.
Give me Max Clare, betting on a tight end and tight end premium. Great environment. It's Joe Burrow, and he's made a bunch of nobodies, not Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but Gesicki's been good. They throw to other tight ends. I'm just going to bank on Max Clare staying in state a little bit and partnering up with Joe Burrow, and at some point, maybe he's a good tight end.
Yeah, I don't hate that. He's somebody that's interesting where can't really evaluate him next to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. He doesn't really do much. And then I think he was at Purdue. He had like one strong year.
Yep.
The NFL loves him. I think this is where there's a couple of tough ones here. I think I just have to go with one of my favorite players. We're in the 3rd round. And we can definitely, this doesn't have to be like by the book, but give me Eli Heidenreich, Navy kid. Who knows what he's going to be? I was looking at his snaps where he has like snaps at fullback. He has snaps as a blocking tight end. He has snaps on, here's what I'll say. I like that he has some snaps on punt coverage. All right. Cause day 3, maybe he can do some special teams, stay on the team, gets to like kind of learn from Taysom Hill. I got nothing for how he projects to the next level. I don't know if he's a running back, receiver. Is he Taysom Hill? Is he Julian Edelman? I don't know, but I'm willing to pay the price to find out at the 302. On the Saints, who knows how he fits there?
All right, I like Heidenreich. Me and Harmon talked about him a couple of weeks ago. I was like, hey, this is a pass catcher right here. I am going to give you an underrated one that I think if this landing spot happened and the offense kind of stays how it is, I think this player would carve out a role at some point. I would comp him to Keaton Mitchell out of Baltimore. Give me Damon Claiborne, who goes to Minnesota in the 5th round right here. It's not an every guy, not an every down back, will never be a feature RB1 for a team, but if he can carve out a Keaton Mitchell-esque big play, he's fast, explosive role amongst Aaron Jones, who looks like he's just cooked, and then Jordan Mason, who didn't pan out to the degree that we thought. I like Claiborne in Minnesota in the 5th.
Yeah, I was looking at that too, where that's a solid landing spot. He gives him a different look than Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason there. And why not bet on KOC? I keep looking at this round 3 to 4, and I just wish it was looking better over here. I think here's where I'll do the boring one and just say, you know what, this is where Rodgers doesn't actually sign back. We'll go Carson Beck. Carson Beck, I don't know. I wish I could say something better about him. I hate the guy's demeanor. Like, if you want to go outside the realm of everything, I just hate his demeanor. But if you're gonna go to the Steelers, and now they have Concepcion, Fryermuth, Darnell Washington, Metcalf, Pittman, fun offensive line. And I kind of like what McCarthy's cooking up over there. We'll go Carson Beck. I'll kick it back to you for the 305.
305. Again, not a huge fan of the player. The steam was very high around February, and I don't see any smoke anymore. Ron, I don't know if you see anything other. My model, it doesn't hate him, but it doesn't like him. It's got him 8th overall. I'm going Malachi Fields, who got selected in round 3. Jaden Daniels in the Commanders. I don't know, man. There's not a lot of separation there. He's big. He makes some great catches. Production is low. I'm not a big fan, but at 3rd round capital, the wide receiver room is kind of open outside of McLaurin, and they can get out of that contract after this season. Yeah, I'll take Fields right here. I don't have a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the game, but the capital, I'm looking around. There's opportunity in the offense. I'll go Fields here.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like you said, the capital Fields. Yeah, he's another one where it's like I'm not really seeing what the NFL is seeing. But
Yeah.
if he does get drafted here, you have to respect it. I will go. Give me probably one last quarterback here. This is where I go Drew Alar. I got to take my guy. And when I say my guy, it's just because he went to the Jets. But
Yeah.
I do like Alar. He's another one of these Devy guys where he was supposed to be awesome. He's I don't know. He's one of the tougher evals maybe ever because you got quarterback gurus sometimes love him, but then he's another one kind of like Bo Nix at Auburn, or even he never even shed that stink at Oregon where everyone's just like, this guy sucks. Like, he is the worst, one of the worst college quarterbacks ever. But I do like, for fantasy purposes, big, toolsy, and
Yep.
out of these guys in this area, like he probably scrambles the most, really, of any quarterback that we've taken so far. So I can
Agreed.
sell myself on that, and I think he could get himself into some starts down the stretch.
All right, I'm not going to get too crazy here at the 3-7. I'll save that for the 3-9. Right here, I will go Oscar Delp. I'll take another one of those Debbie darlings. There are, I mean, I think they've got Trimble, they've got JT Sanders, they've got Mitchell Evans. It's like they've got like 3 guys. There's a lot of people that like Oscar Delp. He's got the Georgia sticker on the side of his helmet. He'll have that in his back pocket. Debbie favorite, probably the most athletic of those guys in the room. I think Mitchell Evans is okay, but I would just know. Here's what would have to happen. He would have to be the starter to matter, right? He's not going to be a tight end 2 and matter. He's not going to be a tight end 3. He'd have to earn that starting job to matter. If he did that, would feel a lot better. 3rd round capital. I doubt it happens, but I'll take a tight end premium dart on Delp.
I don't mind it. I'm gonna go. You know what? Give me Seth McGowan. Old as hell.
Yes.
Like 24, 25. Because he had some weird stuff happen at Oklahoma. But his freshman year, he put up I think almost 50 rushing yards per game next to Ramondre. I mean, I'm not. He goes to the Ravens. Of course, they have Derrick Henry, but who knows how long Derrick Henry is going to hold up. It seems like he keeps doing it, but if anything was to happen and McGowan comes into the RB1 spot, Keaton Mitchell no longer there, I don't think Justice Hill would ever actually rise up the depth chart. I think he would just stay in his role. I do think that McGowan would be pretty fun on this Baltimore team.
All right. I'm just straight Nope, not yet. Not yet. No, I got to do it. I just fooled me once, shame on me. Fooled me twice. We're going right back to Texas A&M. Isaiah Spiller didn't get it done. Le'Veon Moss goes to
I love
Dallas
that
in
pick.
round 7. I'm banking on the running back in Dallas. I don't know if Blue's ever going to be a thing in Dallas. The reports about him early in the offseason last year came to fruition. He barely did anything until the end. Can Moss carve out an RB3 role out there and at some point get on the field? If he did, people would be like, it's another Dallas running back. So I'll take Lev Moss here at the 3-9.
I love that. He's another one of these, Devy guys,
Yep.
5-star or 4-star recruit,
Yep.
played early, but he's fun. Like I think Lane Zierlein comped him to Tank Bigsby, which I think is pretty solid.
There you go.
Then I will be honest. I wish I had a backup plan, but I have it right here. It sucks too that Jaden Ott didn't get drafted either in this, so I do like. But I think I'm gonna go Jacoby Lane. I don't like taking a day 3 wide receiver here, but he's one of the ones I'm willing to make the exception for. He goes to the Raiders. I think right away he can be an outside receiver there. Obviously, they did take Chris Bell in this, which I think is actually pretty fun for them in real life. Mendoza, Bell, Lane. And I don't know, Lane, you squint and you can tell yourself a story, right? Like early declare, lots of touchdowns in year 2. But at the end of the day, just never really had like a peak season. And another one of these guys that the NFL is telling us something where you're like, I look at the numbers where early declare, produced in second year, 13 touchdowns in year 2, and was a guy that heading into this year was like huge in turn. Like he was getting like first round mocks, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and it's not like he had a terrible year. Like he was fine. Makai Lemon just kind of took his lunch, and now the NFL is like, we're not really all that interested, but I'll take him here.
I mean, if you really want to be real, he was some people's wide receiver 1 coming into
Yeah,
the season. I think even Jordan Reed had him as his projected top guy coming in. So at this spot, he's lasted this long. I'll just take him. Antonio Williams, Philadelphia in the 3rd round, can hurt support Stowers and Goddard and Smitty and Barkley and whoever else is there, Hollywood Brown, and then Antonio Williams, who was hurt. Probably not, but he's a top 75 pick. Good offense. I'll take Antonio Williams.
I like that. He's a fun player. Just that spot is a little. It's just tough, like relying on anyone with Jalen Hurts outside of Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
And then this last pick, that Moss pick is. I almost think we maybe let Moss slip too much there.
Maybe.
I'm looking now. I think at the 312, I'll just swing for everything. Here's the issue. I'm going to go Taylon Green. Fun player for the Packers. He's going to obviously be the backup to Jordan Love. I just wonder. I wonder at what point does he be like, oh, maybe I should try tight end, or should I try? But I've seen the interviews. I saw him on the Gruden show where he is very set on quarterback. But you also have that out. Could he be the next Malik Willis? I mean, look, I loved Malik Willis, but we waited so long. I can't even really say that I took a W there. Like he's probably not really on your roster if you liked him, but I'll take Taylon Green. But that's going to wrap it up. We have all 3 rounds here. We went deep in what is supposed to be a weaker class, but I'm glad we kind of talked through the film and just sort of how we feel about these players in general. I was the evens, you were the odds. And I did want to say thank you for hopping on. As always, it's good to catch up with you. And what can people expect from you during this draft season, and where can they find you?
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Anytime you call, I'll be here, man. You do such incredible work. You've built a great audience and a great platform. So thank you for having me on. I mean, I'll be doing the same stuff as everybody else, right? I'll be streaming all 3 nights of the draft. I've got a really cool projections engine that I've created using usage and Trinity. And I love the game of football. So offensive environment, usage, personnel trends to create passing projections that I'll release on draft night. And then the work for me starts for getting ready for college. Not so much 27 draft, but really, I think this is going to be a really fun college football season in general. So I start all my college content once the draft gets over. So just check me out on X, find my YouTube channel at RayGQ. But more importantly, man, I appreciate you for having me on, Ron.
Of course, always got to check in. Like I said, when it comes to the film stuff, I'm watching the games, but the Georgia State or the 2-10 Arkansas, I gotta get, I gotta find where the water's level. Because obviously the game is not played on spreadsheets, but I cannot bring myself to watch Georgia State all 22. It's just what it is at the end of the day. But appreciate everybody watching. Follow Ray. I'll have all of his links in the description, in the comment section down below. As always, appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Stones, like this froze, ice cold, ice around my body like I'm frozen.